Okay, good evening. It is Monday, November 4th. We are meeting as a committee meeting of the whole for the Northern Lebanon School District Board of Directors. This is obviously a different date to accommodate the election tomorrow. This evening is, as I stated, a committee meeting, and I called this meeting to order. First item for business this evening is public comment. We did have notification of one individual that had intended to offer public comment today, but I do not see that individual here. In the event that she does show up, we'll move public comment to another portion of the meeting this evening. So then with that, we'll just move to items for discussion for this evening, starting with the consent calendar and item 4. The first one is approval of the minutes, and then Dr. Messinger, you want to run us through the rest?
Yeah, I just wanted to, there is an election tomorrow. I didn't notice with the 4,000 texts,
Yeah,
phone calls. Uh, I, yeah, one day I got nothing but political advertisements in my mailbox. So, all right. The first couple items are just our normal items, approval of minutes, the student activity count and cash disbursements. All those numbers will be filled in for the meeting next week.
okay, any questions? Okay, moving on, budget and finance.
Yes, that is a student agreement that we discussed in exec session a month ago. It's finalized and on the agenda.
Okay, questions? Okay, hearing none. Extracurricular.
Okay, the first is just some winter assistance. Wrestling has one of our newer teachers, Kai Whitman, who also used to wrestle here as a volunteer, and then several listed for you for boys basketball. We've updated some of our clubs, advisors for that, that you can see there. And that's it for 6.
Okay. Questions? Okay, move on.
All right, 7, I'm going to suggest we move to discussion because that'll give you an opportunity to read through those policies. I will point out that 901 is actually a combination of policies. 901 and 911 were combined. And also point out that it is suggested to retire policy 919. But that'll give you an opportunity to look more closely at those. And if there are questions, let me know if you can so that I can prepare, make sure that we have answers for you. But we can talk about those next week then.
I should have emailed you this, but should we also then retire 911?
Yes.
Okay, so we
So
should.
we will add
yeah.
that 911 as well.
Okay.
So
Thank
just
you.
out of curiosity, is 919 replaced with something else? Is that state standard dropped, or we've already done that through another means?
It is not replaced with anything else. I will tell you what, we'll send the description of why PSBA recommends the retirement. Usually they have that online. 7.2 is the rest of our elementary book order that they put together that you can look through. 7.3, we have an agreement with WellSpan. The last one was done 3 years ago. The agreement looks the same as it did 3 years ago. This is actually a 5-year agreement. It's to share information about our students when they go to Phil Haven so that we can communicate about how to best serve their needs. 7.4, which I'll also suggest we move to discussion in case you look through it and have any questions. I just want to go through a few things there. Some changes for this year in the career planner. One of the things they did was they went through, and for those students who are going on to play sports in college, they have designated which classes are NCAA approved, meaning that they would count toward their eligibility to be cleared to be able to play in the NCAA. Another, and I want to preface some of these by stating that last February, March, I talked about our ability to create courses and look at things to give our students more choices in areas that they're interested in while still maintaining, obviously, the coursework that they need to do for the state and also being able to offer courses for those kids that are going to college, making sure that they have enough courses to be able to put together a good resume to go to college. So some of these changes are geared towards students that maybe aren't going to college. For instance, Algebra 1A. Algebra, as you know, is a keystone tested class. And what we've done in the past is we've had algebra, and then our kids that don't pass, we give a remediation course to. Well, this is going to allow some students that don't maybe feel confident in math to take Algebra 1A, which would be half of the content, and then the following year take Algebra 1B, which would be the second half of the content. And when they're done with both of those courses is when they would take the Keystone exam. So that's for our kiddos that maybe maybe college isn't what they're looking to do, but maybe in their field that requires a strong, math at least foundation. So we can spend more time with them building that foundation, and they can be successful when it comes time to pass that course or pass that test, which is one of the requirements for graduation.
Mhm.
So a more proactive approach instead of a reactive approach. CTC has some changes. I'll just highlight those quickly. Dental assistant, media communication technology, commercial art and design are going to go to half-day programs. That will allow double the kids across the county to be able to take those courses versus the single-day, full-day programs. Let's see here. One of the things we wanted to do was offer a virtual PE course. That virtual PE course is to allow some flexibility for our students if they want to take, for instance, a in-person calculus or an advanced placement course. Instead of having to schedule that PE course and taking a schedule spot, this would allow them to take a virtual PE option. We've offered it in the past, but it's more aligned to what we would be doing in person. And it also, I think, allows us to, I think this would be a tempting class for our athletes who get quite a bit of physical activity because you can use that physical activity toward the requirements of the class. And then they can get in the classroom for another class. So that was put in there as well. Another one is, you probably know this, but financial literacy is going to be required by the state next year, 2025, 2026. So we are now offering that. That's in the course planner. And we're switching gears. A lot of that overlaps what we used to be our independent living class. So we're switching from independent living to putting the content in the financial literacy class. If you want to learn to balance a check, does anybody balance their checkbook anymore? To do that online? Okay, good. All right. Things like that, budgeting, those kinds of things will be in that financial literacy class. Obviously, those standards were developed by the state. The other thing that I think is going to allow our students to have a little more choice, in the past, there was a requirement of 2 credits of core electives. We already require 4 Englishes, 3 maths, 3 sciences, 3 social studies. And then we also required two core electives, so 2 electives within those fields. But this, again, allows our kids to do more in their world of electives, whether that's a foreign language or that's band or that's an additional tech ed class or that's another business class. It gives them more flexibility in their schedule to take those electives. And that was one of the concerns that was when we went from 8 periods to 7 periods. That was one of the concerns, was being able to continue to get those electives. So that was a change that gives students a little more flexibility as well. So those are the major changes. Again, I can try to answer questions, but you can take a look at it and we can talk about it next week. Like I said, I suggest maybe moving into discussion in case there are any questions.
Okay. Any questions this evening? Appreciate that detailed explanation. It's often hard to sift through and figure out what's new and what's not, so thank you very
Right.
much. Okay, any other questions regarding that? Okay, then we will move 7.1 and 7.4 to discussion for next week based on Dr. Messinger's recommendations. Okay. Human Relations.
Just an updated substitute list. There's only one change, and it's Sean Sanchez, who's a custodian substitute. Melissa, can I tell a little bit about that kid? Are you sure? You think I'd be okay? This is a young man who has had some difficulty, is in our V3 program. Melissa's reached out to him, and he actually comes in now and works with her a little bit to stay on track. And he's been looking for his job. He's trying to help his family. And we talked to him about, well, hey, we could probably do something for you. We're always looking for people to fill in for custodial work. He was so excited. He got his uniforms, his shirts, and he was so excited. He didn't even want to stay to work with Melissa that day. He wanted to go home and tell his family. And he just is so happy to be able to come and do some work for us. And it's just a great testament to the relationship building that we're trying to accomplish. But it's just neat to see a success story right now with this young man who has not had much go well for him in his schooling career. So he's on that list. Some resignations, we did lose a substitute custodian, and Mr. Baird is going to effort to be an assistant principal. So we wish him the best. I'm sure he'll do a great job there. From an informational standpoint, we do have the CTC committee meeting minutes attached for you in case you're interested in looking through those. And that is all for November, actually.
Okay. Any questions? I'll also note on the information that Director Williams will be bringing a summary next Tuesday about PSBA delegate assembly. So if we could include that on the agenda, that he'll be under the information as well for PSBA. Okay.
And we'll do, I mentioned a board for the tour, a tour for the board. Brad's gonna give us where to meet. We'll do that before the meeting, and then we'll do a little construction update during it as well, that next time, and then, of course, the normal reports.
Okay. Okay, anything else to bring to the board this evening? Okay, hearing none, then this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.